ladies, let me tell you something, and I need you to sit down for this one. Pour yourself something warm. Close the door. Put the phone face down. Because what I'm about to say to you today is going to shift something inside of you that has been asleep for too long. If a man walks away from you and you find yourself chasing, calling, explaining, over-explaining, apologizing for things you didn't even do, I need you to hear me clearly. That is not love. That is not devotion. That is not fighting for the relationship. That is you begging to be chosen by a man who has already made his decision. And baby, no woman with a queen spirit should ever have to beg for a seat at a table she built with her own two hands. You've been told that if you just try harder, love bigger, stay quieter, cook better, look softer, text sweeter, wait longer, he'll finally see you. That if you just prove your loyalty one more time, he'll finally value you. But here's the brutal truth. None of that makes a man run to you. In fact, all of that makes a man run from you. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. Have you ever sat on the edge of your bed at midnight staring at a screen that won't light up, replaying every word you said, wondering what you did wrong? Have you ever caught yourself shrinking your laugh, softening your opinions, hiding your success, dimming your shine? Also, a man wouldn't feel threatened by the very woman he claimed he wanted. Sister, that pain has a name, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand it, you're going to release it, and you're never going to fall for it again. So sit with me. Let me break this down for you the way an uncle sits his niece down before she walks out that door thinking love means losing herself. Because what I'm about to teach you today is the queen mindset. And once you own it, men don't just notice you, they chase you, they fight for you, they rearrange their whole lives for you. And the ones who can't rise to your level, they quietly disappear. And baby, that's a blessing, not a loss. See, here's what men are wired to do. And I'm going to be honest with you the way I wish somebody had been honest with me when I was young. Men are wired to pursue value, not beauty, not sex, not availability, value. A man's entire nervous system is built around chasing what he perceives as scarce, rare, and hard-won. He is not built to appreciate what falls into his lap. He is built to appreciate what he had to become a better man to deserve. Now let me break down what's really happening inside his mind when he meets a woman who carries herself like a queen. His whole internal system lights up. There's a part of a man, an ancient part, older than language, older than culture, older than religion, that recognizes royalty when it walks in the room. He doesn't even know why. He just knows he needs to stand a little taller, speak a little slower, choose his words a little more carefully, because instinct is telling him this one is not like the others. This one is going to require the highest version of me. And if I don't rise, I don't get her. That, sister, is the switch. That is the thing you have been trying to flip with the wrong tools your whole life. You've been trying to flip that switch by being sweeter. He doesn't need sweeter. He doesn't need sweeter. You've been trying to flip that switch by being available. He doesn't need available. You've been trying to flip that switch by proving your loyalty up front before he's even earned a glance. He doesn't need proof. What he needs, what his soul is starving for, is a woman who is so rooted in her own worth that his approval is not the oxygen she breathes. Now, hear me on this. Because this next part is where women get it twisted. The queen mindset is not arrogance. It is not coldness. It is not playing hard to get. It is not games. It is not lipstick and lashes and pretending you don't care when you're crying yourself to sleep. No. The queen mindset is something so much deeper than that. It is the quiet, unshakable knowing that you are already whole, that a man is not the missing piece, that a man is the bonus, not the base, that your peace is not up for negotiation, that your standards are not suggestions, that your presence is a privilege, not a public utility. Let me tell you about a woman I know. Let's call her Maya. Maya was one of those women who did everything right. She was smart. She was beautiful. She had a degree, a career, her own apartment, her own car, her own credit. On paper, she was every man's dream. But Maya had a secret. Maya was terrified of being alone, and that terror leaked out of her in ways she couldn't see. Every time a man showed her attention, she shrunk. She'd cancel plans with her girlfriends the second he called. She'd stop posting on social media because he said he didn't like it. She'd wait 3 hours to text him back so she wouldn't seem too eager. But then she'd sit on the couch staring at her phone the whole time, unable to enjoy her own life. She'd say yes to dates she didn't want to go on. She'd say yes to relationships she knew were wrong. Because in Maya's mind, having somebody, anybody, was better than being alone with herself. And you know what happened? Every single man she chose eventually left her. Not because she wasn't enough, but because she made herself so small, so accommodating, so desperate to please, that the man forgot she was a prize. She turned herself into a convenience. And nobody chases a convenience, baby. Nobody runs after what's already sitting in the passenger seat with the door open. One day Maya called me crying. She said, "I don't understand. I give them everything. I love them harder than any woman would. Why do they leave me?" And I told her the truth. I said, "Baby, you don't have a love problem. You have a self problem. You keep handing men a woman who doesn't respect herself, and then you're confused when they don't respect her either. A man cannot love what you have not first loved in yourself. He can't value what you have not first valued." That night, Maya made a decision. She said, "I'm done. I'm done being the woman who begs. I'm done being the woman who chases. I'm done being the woman who bends her whole life around a man who won't even bend his schedule for her." And from that day forward, everything changed. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, powerfully, permanently. She started saying no. She started leaving her phone in the other room. She started going out with her girlfriends. She started investing in her own dreams. She started walking into rooms like she owned them because she finally understood, sister, that she did. And you know what happened 3 months later? Every man who had ghosted her came back. Every single one. Now, that's not the miracle. The miracle is what Maya did next. She looked at those messages, and for the first time in her life, she felt nothing. Not anger, not longing, not vindication, just peace. Because she had become the woman who no longer needed them to prove her worth. And when a new man walked into her life, a real man, a rooted man, a man who knew how to build and not just consume, she was finally ready to receive him. That, sister, is the queen mindset. And I'm going to spend this next hour breaking it down piece by piece, layer by layer, so that by the time you finish watching this, you will never be Maya at the beginning of that story again. You will be Maya at the end. Now let me tell you the first truth about the queen mindset. Are you ready? Write this one down. A queen never explains her worth. She demonstrates it. You have been out here trying to convince men of your value, trying to prove your wife material, trying to earn a title that should have been offered to you the moment he laid eyes on you. And I need you to stop right now, today, because every time you explain your worth to a man who doesn't see it, you are teaching him that your worth is up for debate. And baby, your worth is not up for debate. Your worth is a fact. You know what a queen does when a man doesn't see her? She doesn't argue. She doesn't perform. She doesn't send the paragraph text at 2 a.m. listing all the reasons she's a good woman. No, a queen simply leaves the room, not with drama, not with slammed doors, just quietly, permanently, with the full authority of a woman who knows there are 10 more kingdoms she could rule. And here's what happens in his mind when you do that. Listen carefully, because this is the mechanism nobody talks about. A man's brain is wired around a psychological principle called loss aversion. Losing something feels twice as painful to him as gaining something feels good. So when you are chasing him, calling him, texting him, showing up, he feels no loss. Because you're right there. You're guaranteed. You're the certainty in his life. But the second you go quiet, the second you go still, the second you remove your energy from his orbit, that ancient loss aversion alarm starts screaming inside of him. He starts feeling something he has never felt with you before. He starts feeling the absence of you. And the absence of a queen is the most haunting thing a man will ever experience. It is louder than any words you could ever say to him. That's why silence works when words never did. That's why walking away pulls him closer than chasing ever could. Not because it's a game, not because it's manipulation, but because it is the natural law of human attraction. We chase what runs. We value what we might lose. We worship what we cannot control. And a queen, by her very nature, cannot be controlled. She can only be honored. Now here's the second truth of the queen mindset. A queen does not audition. She selects. I want you to sit with that for a second. Because most of you, and I say this with love, have been auditioning your whole dating life. You've been showing up to first dates like a job interview, hoping he picks you. You've been sending pictures hoping he approves. You've been laughing at jokes that weren't funny. You've been pretending to love football, pretending to love his mama's cooking, pretending to love a lifestyle that doesn't fit you, all because you thought love was something you had to earn. Baby, no. Love is something you receive. And a queen understands that she is the prize being offered, not the prize being won. When a man walks into her presence, she is the one interviewing him. She is the one deciding. She is the one asking herself, is this man worthy of a seat at my table? Can he match my peace? Can he match my purpose? Can he match my presence? And if the answer is no, sister, she says thank you. And she keeps it moving. No tears. No trying to change him. No 2 years of maybe he'll grow. A queen doesn't grow a man. A queen recognizes a grown man. That's the difference. And that difference is going to save you a decade of heartbreak. Now I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but what if I never find one? What if I hold this standard and nobody ever meets it? I hear you. And I want to answer that fear directly because it is real and it is human. And I would be lying to you if I said you don't feel it. But here's what I need you to understand. A woman who is willing to accept less will always be given less. A woman who is willing to accept everything will always be given crumbs. Because life mirrors us. Men mirror us. The universe mirrors us. What you tolerate is what you attract. What you refuse is what you elevate away from. So the question is not, will a man rise to my standard? The question is, am I willing to hold my standard long enough for the right man to find me? Because he will. He is looking for you right now. He is doing his own work right now. He is becoming the man who can love you correctly right now. And when your paths finally cross, the last thing you want is for him to find a version of you that has been chewed up by lesser men. You want him to find you whole. You want him to find you rooted. You want him to find you rooted. You want him to find you queenly. And that, sister, is the work you do in the waiting. Let me tell you about another woman. Let's call her Rachel. Rachel was 38 years old, single, no children. At every family gathering she came home to had somebody asking her, when are you going to settle down? When are you going to have babies? You know your clock is ticking, right? And Rachel would smile through it, but inside she was breaking. Rachel had almost married the wrong man twice. The first one cheated on her the whole engagement. The second one told her a week before the wedding that he wasn't sure he wanted kids after all, even though they had been planning them for 2 years. Both times Rachel had a choice. She could have lowered her standard and stayed. She could have said, well, at least I have somebody. She could have accepted the crumbs, but Rachel didn't. Rachel walked away, both times, and every family gathering after those broken engagements got a little harder. The whispers got a little louder. The questions got a little sharper. But Rachel held the line. She kept working on herself. She traveled. She built her business. She deepened her friendship. She got closer to God. She got quieter with her opinions and louder with her boundaries. And she waited, not passively, actively. She was becoming the woman her future husband deserved to meet. At 41, Rachel met a man at a wedding. He was a widower with 2 teenage children. He was successful, but more than that, he was settled. He was healed. He had done his own work. He looked at Rachel like she was the answer to a prayer he'd stopped saying out loud. Within 6 months, they were engaged. Within a year, they were married. Within 2 years, Rachel had the family she dreamed about her whole life, plus a bonus, 2 children who already loved her because they saw how their father lit up when she walked into the room. Now here's the part I want you to hear. Rachel later told me, if I had married either of those first 2 men out of fear of being alone, I would have missed this. I would have missed my actual life. I would have been trapped in the wrong story, mourning a life I hadn't lived yet. And she was right. Every no she gave was a yes to the life she was actually meant for. That is the power of the queen mindset. It is not just about attracting men. It is about protecting your destiny. It is about refusing to trade your future joy for present comfort. It is about understanding that the woman who can be alone is the woman who can be truly loved. Because she is choosing love, not clinging to it out of terror. Now let's talk about the third truth. This one might sting a little, but I need you to sit with it. A queen does not compete. She does not compete. She does not compare. She does not perform for a man's attention. Ladies, listen to me carefully. When you find yourself scrolling through his ex's page, when you find yourself trying to look like the girls he liked before you, when you find yourself trying to prove you're better than the other women in his life, you have already lost the throne. Because a queen doesn't have competition. A queen has a category, and her category is one. There is no other woman on earth who has your exact spirit, your exact laugh, your exact walk, your exact wisdom, your exact history, your exact softness, your exact fire. You were formed by God to be an original. And every time you shrink yourself into a copy of some other woman you think he might want more, you insult the very hand that made you. So stop. Stop measuring yourself against her. Stop measuring yourself against her. Stop measuring yourself against them. Stop measuring yourself against the highlight reels of women you've never met. A real man doesn't want a duplicate. A real man wants an original. He wants the woman only he gets to know, and she doesn't exist on Instagram. She exists in your body, in your history, in your one-of-one soul. Now here's the psychology piece nobody teaches. When a man senses that you are competing for him, something dies inside of him. Not desire, exactly. Something deeper. Respect. Because a man cannot fully respect a woman who acts like she has to earn him. He might enjoy the attention. He might use it. He might even marry it, but he will not honor it. And a queen doesn't just want to be loved. She wants to be honored. There is a massive difference between the two. Love without honor is what keeps you up at 3 a.m. checking his phone. Love without honor is what makes you feel like you're always one wrong word away from losing him. Love without honor is what makes you shrink, apologize, over-explain, second-guess your own name. But love with honor feels like coming home. It feels like exhale. It feels like the safety to be fully unapologetically yourself and know that the man in front of you is grateful you exist. You deserve that, sister. You deserve honor, not just love. You deserve reverence, not just interest. You deserve a man who treats your name like scripture in his mouth. And you will never get that by competing. You will only get that by returning to your original self and standing there, immovable, until the right man kneels. Now let's go deeper, because I want to talk to you about something that I know is happening in some of your lives right now. Some of you are sitting there watching this video and you already have a man. And you're wondering, can I apply the queen mindset to a relationship I'm already in? Or is it too late? I hear you. And I want to answer that honestly. Sister, it is never too late. But I need to prepare you for something. When a woman who has been shrinking for years suddenly stands up, the man in her life is going to feel the earthquake. And how he responds to that earthquake is going to tell you everything you need to know about whether he is the man you should be building with. Because here's what happens. When you stop chasing, he's going to feel the absence. When you stop overgiving, he's going to feel the imbalance. When you stop performing, he's going to feel the mirror. And a man who is not right for you will get angry. He will accuse you of changing. He will say, "You're not the woman I fell in love with." And baby, he'll be right. You're not. Because the woman he fell in love with was the shrunken version of you, the auditioning version, the convenience store version. And that woman is dead. She had to die for the queen to rise. But a man who is right for you, a man who has been waiting for you to see your own worth, he is going to feel that earthquake and he is going to rise with it. He is going to say, "Finally, there she is. There's the woman I always knew was in there." And he's going to step up in ways that will shock you. He's going to become a version of himself you didn't even know he had access to. Because a queen doesn't just elevate herself, sister. A queen elevates every man who is worthy of standing beside her. So don't be afraid to shift. Don't be afraid to change the dynamic. Don't be afraid of the earthquake. The earthquake is not the enemy. The earthquake is the diagnostic. It is going to reveal what is real and what is not. And you deserve to know the truth about your relationship. You deserve to know whether the man beside you is a foundation or a costume. And the queen mindset is what reveals it. Now let me give you the fourth truth. A queen protects her energy like it is currency. Because it is. Ladies, your energy is the most valuable thing you own, more than your body, more than your beauty, more than your bank account. Your energy is what people feel when you walk in the room. It is what men remember when they close their eyes at night. It is what makes a room feel warm or cold. It is your signature. It is your kingdom's flag, and you have been giving it away for free. You have been giving your energy to men who text "wid" at midnight. You have been giving your energy to men who ghost you for a week and then reappear like nothing happened. You have been giving your energy to men who won't post you, won't introduce you, won't commit to you, but expect access to the deepest parts of your soul. And every time you give that energy away without receiving anything in return, you drain your own kingdom. A queen doesn't do that. A queen understands that her energy is limited, precious, sacred. She spends it intentionally. She invests it wisely. She protects it fiercely. And when a man wants access to her energy, he has to prove himself worthy of it, not through grand gestures, not through expensive dinners, but through consistency, through effort, through presence, through the small daily deposits that show her, "I take you seriously. I take us seriously. I am not just passing through." Because here's the truth about men, and I say this with love. Men are not confused about what they want. Men know exactly what they want and they act on it. If a man is not consistent with you, it is not because he is confused. It is because he is comfortable with inconsistency. If a man is not committing to you, it is not because he is scared of commitment. It is because he is not scared enough of losing you. If a man is not showing up for you, it is not because he doesn't know how. It is because he does not deem you worthy of the effort. And I know that stings. I know that feels harsh, but you need to hear it. Because as long as you are making excuses for a man's low effort, you are participating in your own devaluation. You are teaching him, you can have my energy for free. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to work for it. Just show up when it's convenient for you, and I'll be here, waiting, hoping. And no man on earth values what he did not have to earn. So starting today, I want you to start guarding your energy like a queen guards her jewels. When a man reaches out, ask yourself, has he earned my response? When a man asks to see you, ask yourself, has he earned my time? When a man wants access to your body, your heart, your future, ask yourself, has he earned my kingdom? And if the answer is no, sister, you keep your energy right where it is, in your own hands, in your own hands, in your own cows, in your own crown. Now let me tell you about a woman named Tasha. Tasha was married to a man who, on the outside, looked like a good husband. He provided. He didn't cheat as far as she knew. He wasn't abusive, but something was missing. Tasha felt invisible in her own marriage. Her husband would come home, sit on the couch, watch TV, eat dinner, and go to bed. He didn't ask her about her day. He didn't compliment her. He didn't touch her unless he wanted something. He didn't celebrate her. He was there, but he wasn't present. And Tasha was slowly dying inside. For years, Tasha tried everything. She cooked his favorite meals. She dressed up. She initiated intimacy. She planned date nights. She asked him what she could do differently. And every time he would say, nothing. Everything is fine. Why are you making a big deal out of nothing? And Tasha would smile and swallow her pain and try again the next week. One day, Tasha's mama sat her down and said, "Baby, you cannot pour into a man who has decided not to pour into you. You are draining your own well, and one day you're going to look up and there won't be any water left." And that hit Tasha in a way nothing else had. That night, Tasha made a decision. She stopped. She just stopped. She stopped cooking his favorite meals. She stopped dressing up for a man who didn't notice. She stopped initiating conversations. She stopped begging for attention from a man who had already decided she wasn't worth it. She didn't leave him. She didn't leave him. She didn't yell at him. She didn't announce her strike. She just quietly, calmly took back her energy. She started using that energy on herself. She joined a gym. She reconnected with her sisters. She started a small business she'd been dreaming about for years. She got her hair done. She got her nails done. She started reading books that lit her up. She started praying again. She started laughing again. And her husband, who hadn't noticed her in years, suddenly noticed everything. Within 3 months, he was asking her where she was going, who she was with, why she seemed so happy without him. Within 6 months, he was begging her to plan a date night. Within a year, he was in couples counseling with her, doing the work he had refused to do for a decade. Because Tasha had finally taken her energy back. And when a woman takes her energy back, a man either rises to meet her or he shows himself for what he was all along. That is the power of energy. It is not what you say. It is what you withdraw. It is not the words. It is the presence. And a queen understands that her presence is a gift, not a right, not an entitlement, a gift. And gifts can be given or gifts can be withheld. The choice is always hers. Now let me tell you the fifth truth. A queen does not fear being alone. She fears being wasted. Ladies, this one is going to set you free. Because the fear of being alone is what keeps you trapped in every dead-end relationship, every situationship, every almost love that never quite becomes real. The fear of being alone is what makes you say yes when your spirit is screaming no. The fear of being alone is what makes you stay when every part of you is begging to leave. The fear of being alone is the single greatest thief of feminine destiny in the modern world. But sister, hear me on this. Being alone is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Being wasted is. Being tolerated is. Being kept as a placeholder is. Being loved halfway is. Being with a man who is with you physically but not spiritually is worse than being alone. Being with a man who is present in your house but absent in your soul is worse than being alone. Being with a man who is just filling time until something better comes along is worse than being alone. Because when you are alone, you are with yourself. You are with your own energy. You are with God. You are with your future. You are with the woman you are becoming. And that is holy ground. That is fertile soil. That is the place where the real you gets to grow. But when you are wasted, you are nowhere. You are in a fog. You are in a slow death. You are pouring into a container that has holes in the bottom. And every day a little more of you leaks out and you don't even notice until one day you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the woman staring back at you. Her eyes are dim. Her spirit is small. Her laugh is quiet. Her dreams are dusty. And you think, how did I get here? You got there by being afraid of the wrong thing. You feared being alone when you should have feared being wasted. And a queen, sister, does not make that mistake. A queen looks at time like it is treasure, because it is. Every day you spend with the wrong man is a day you did not spend becoming, growing, healing, expanding, meeting the right one. Every year you spend hoping he'll change is a year you stole from your own future. So if you are sitting there today watching this video and you know deep in your bones that the man in your life is not the one, I want to give you permission not to leave necessarily. That is your choice. But to stop lying to yourself about what it is. Stop calling it love when it is fear. Stop calling it commitment when it is comfort. Stop calling it patience when it is delay. Call it what it is. And then decide with your whole grown woman self what you want to do about it. Because time is the one thing you cannot get back. You can rebuild your finances. You can rebuild your reputation. You can rebuild your body. But you cannot rebuild the years you spent waiting on a man who was never going to become who you needed him to be. Those years are gone, and a queen does not throw her years away. Now here is the sixth truth, and this is where the whole queen mindset comes together. A queen understands that she is the source, not the seeker. Read that again. She is the source, not the seeker. Meaning, everything she needs, she already has. Love, joy, peace, purpose, worth, value, direction, meaning. It is already inside her. It was placed there by the same God who made the mountains and the oceans. And no man on earth has the power to give her what she already possesses. He can add to it. He can celebrate it. He can honor it. But he cannot create it. And he cannot take it away. Most women live their whole lives as seekers. They are seeking love, seeking attention, seeking validation, seeking a man to complete them, seeking a relationship to fix them. And because they are seeking, they are always in a posture of lack. They are always hungry. They are always chasing. And a hungry woman will accept crumbs because crumbs are better than nothing when you are starving. But a queen does not seek. A queen sources. She goes inward first. She feeds her own soul first. She loves her own self first. She heals her own wounds first. She celebrates her own wins first. She fills her own cup first. And when she walks into the world, she walks in with a cup that is already overflowing. And a man does not add water to her cup. He drinks from the overflow. He is nourished by her fullness. He is not the reason for her fullness. That, sister, is the shift that changes everything. Because a woman who is full is magnetic. A woman who is full is unbothered. A woman who is full is unshakable. A woman who is full is dangerous in the most beautiful way because she cannot be manipulated with what she does not need. You cannot buy a full woman. You cannot lie to a full woman. You cannot love bomb a full woman because she is not hungry. She does not need your scraps. And when a man senses that fullness in you, something ancient happens. He stops trying to consume you and starts trying to earn you because he realizes at a level deeper than words that you are not the buffet. You are the banquet. And he better bring his best appetite and his best manners because you are not passing out plates to just anyone. I want you to take a moment right now and ask yourself an honest question. Are you a seeker or a source? Are you hungry or are you full? Are you looking for a man to fill you or are you already overflowing? Because until you become the source, no man on earth can love you correctly. He will only love you at the level of your own hunger. And your hunger will always be too big for him to fill because it wasn't his job to fill it in the first place. It was yours and it was God's. And when you two do that work together, you become the woman men run to, not away from. 2. Now let's talk about the 7th truth because I want to give you the practical piece. Because I know some of you are ready to leave this video and put this into action, and I want to make sure you have the exact tools. A queen speaks less and observes more. Ladies, one of the biggest mistakes women make in dating is talking too much, too soon. You meet a man, and within 3 dates, you have told him your whole life story, your childhood trauma, your ex-boyfriends, your dreams, your fears, your bank account, your family drama, your medical history, everything. And you think you're being open. You think you're being vulnerable. You think you're bonding. But baby, what you are actually doing is giving away your kingdom map before you've even confirmed he's a citizen. You are handing him the keys to the castle before you've even asked to see his ID. And a queen does not do that. A queen holds back, not because she is playing games, not because she is being fake, but because she is discerning. She is watching. She is listening. She is listening. She is reading the room. She is letting him reveal himself before she reveals herself. Because here is the truth. Men reveal themselves in the first 90 days if you let them talk. If you shut up and just listen and watch, a man will tell you exactly who he is. He will tell you what he thinks about women, about his mother, about his last relationship, about money, about God, about children, about his future. He will tell you everything. And your job is not to talk over him with your own story. Your job is to hear him fully, deeply, without projecting, without hoping, without editing what he says to fit the fantasy of who you want him to be. And once you have heard him, once you have really heard him, you can make an informed decision about whether this man is worthy of a seat at your table. Because here is what most women do. They meet a man, they hear all the red flags in the first 3 weeks, and then they spend the next 3 years trying to convince themselves the red flags weren't real. He told you who he was, and you didn't believe him. Not because he was hiding it, but because you were too busy trying to prove you were the exception. Baby, you are not the exception. Nobody is the exception. A man who has been treating women a certain way for the last 10 years is not going to suddenly become a different man because you loved him extra hard. He is going to be who he has always been, and a queen listens for that. A queen watches for that. A queen respects the information he gives her and makes her decision accordingly, not based on his potential, based on his pattern. Because a man's pattern is his prophecy, sister. What he has done, he will do. Who he has been, he will be. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop wasting your queenly years on men who were never going to become what you needed. Not because you weren't worthy, but because they weren't willing. And those are two different things. Now hear me on this. There is a difference between a man who is unwilling and a man who is unable. A man who is unable can grow. A man who is unwilling cannot. And the tragedy of most women's dating lives is that they spend their energy trying to grow men who are simply unwilling. They confuse resistance for lack of skill. They confuse selfishness for immaturity. They confuse cruelty for confusion, and they pour and pour into a man who has decided at his core that he is not going to change for her. He might change for another woman later. He might change for another woman later. He might change for God later. He might change for his own reasons, but he is not going to change for her. And she needs to hear that, because the sooner she hears it, the sooner she can free herself. Let me tell you about a woman named Denise. Denise was 32 and she had been with the same man for 6 years. When she met him, he was a work in progress, as she liked to say. He didn't have a stable job. He didn't have his own place. He didn't have his life together. But Denise saw potential. She saw the man he could be, and she committed herself to loving him into that man. For 6 years, Denise worked 2 jobs while he figured himself out. She paid the rent. She paid the bills. She cooked the meals. She held the household together, and every year she thought, this is the year he'll step up. This is the year he'll propose. This is the year he'll become the man I know he can be. And every year, nothing changed. He would apply for a job and then not follow through. He would talk about marriage and then get quiet when she brought it up. He would promise to change and then repeat the same behavior 3 weeks later. And Denise kept holding on, kept hoping, kept pouring, kept praying. Until one day, Denise looked in the mirror and she saw a woman she did not recognize. She had gained 30 pounds from stress eating. She had bags under her eyes. She hadn't laughed a real laugh in over a year. She had lost touch with all her friends because she was too tired to socialize. She had put her dreams on the shelf. She had become a shell of the woman she used to be. And she asked herself, what have I done? What have I given up? For what? That night, Denise packed a bag and she left. Not with drama, not with screaming, just with the quiet resolve of a woman who had finally understood that she was wasting her life on a man who was never going to become who he had promised to be. 6 years, sister. 6 years of her one and only life, gone. Now here is the beautiful part. 2 years later, Denise met a man who, on their first date, told her about his plans, his goals, his savings, his family, his faith. And Denise sat there and just listened. She didn't try to save him. She didn't try to fix him. She didn't project potential onto him. She just watched. And she realized, I don't have to build this man. He's already built. I just have to stand beside him. They were married a year later. And Denise told me I wasted 6 years trying to build a man. And when I met a man who was already built, it took a year. Because when things are right, they don't require you to bleed. They just require you to receive. Sister, hear that. When things are right, you don't have to bleed. You just have to receive. So stop bleeding for men who won't even build for themselves. Stop pouring into empty containers. Stop trying to make crumbs feel like a feast. There is a 4-course meal out there with your name on it. But you have to leave the table you keep begging at before you can find it. Now let me give you the 8th truth of the queen mindset. A queen makes decisions from her future, not from her wounds. This one is deep, so stay with me. Most women make their romantic decisions from their wounds. They pick men who remind them of the father who wasn't there. They stay with men who mirror the mother who couldn't love them. They chase men who confirm the story they've been telling themselves since childhood, that they are not enough, not lovable, not worthy of steady love. And they call this love when really it is just a familiar pain wearing a new face. But a queen makes decisions from her future. She sees the woman she is becoming. She sees the family she is building. She sees the life she is designing. And she asks herself at every crossroads, does this choice move me toward that future, or does it move me away from it? And if it moves her away, she says no. Even if it hurts, even if she cries, even if she has to grieve the fantasy of what could have been, she says no because her future self is watching, and her future self is depending on her to be brave enough today. I want you to close your eyes for a second and picture the woman you want to be in 5 years. Picture her clearly. What does she look like? How does she carry herself? What does her home feel like? Who is beside her? What is she doing with her time? What is she known for? What does her laugh sound like? Got her? Good. Now I want you to ask yourself, does the man I'm with right now belong in her life? Would she be proud to bring him to that future? Or would she look at him and shake her head and wonder why present me is still holding on to a man who has no business standing next to her? That, sister, is the question. That is the whole game. Because you are not just choosing a man for today. You are choosing a man for the woman you are becoming. And if he does not belong in her life, he does not belong in yours. No matter how much history you have, no matter how much love you feel, no matter how much you have already invested, sunk cost is not a reason to stay. Your future is a reason to leave. And I know that sounds harsh, but love is not always soft. Sometimes love, real love, self-love is fierce. Sometimes love says no. Sometimes love walks away. Sometimes love packs the bag and closes the door and does not look back, because the woman you are becoming is worth more than the woman you have been, and every step you take toward her is a sacred act. Now let's talk about what happens after you have adopted this mindset, because I want you to be prepared. Because when a woman steps fully into her queen mindset, the world reacts, and you need to know what to expect. First, some people in your life are going to be uncomfortable with the new you. Family members who benefited from your old people-pleasing self are going to say, "You changed. You used to be so sweet." Friends who bonded with you over shared complaints about men are going to feel left behind when you stop complaining and start commanding. Even your own mother might look at you and say, "Who do you think you are?" And you're going to have to answer that question, sister, out loud, to yourself, in the mirror, every morning if you have to. Who do you think you are? You are a queen. That's who. You are the daughter of the Most High God. You are a woman formed in the image of divine love. You are worthy of every good thing. You are enough exactly as you are. And you do not owe anyone an apology for finally seeing yourself the way heaven has always seen you. Second, some men in your life are going to disappear, and I want you to let them. Do not chase after them. Do not send the "what did I do wrong" text. Do not question yourself, because a man who disappears when you raise your standards was never going to meet them anyway. He was only staying as long as you were willing to keep the bar on the floor. And the second you picked that bar up, he ran. That's not a loss, sister. That's a filter. God is doing you a favor. Let them go. Third, and this is the beautiful part, new people are going to appear. New men, new friends, new opportunities, new rooms. Because energy attracts energy. And when you become a full-sourced, queenly woman, you start attracting other full-sourced, queenly people. It is a law. It is not a maybe. It is a certainty. Just give it time. Give it a season. Give it patience. The right people are coming. but they cannot come as long as the wrong people are still occupying their seats. So clear the seats, sister. Clear the phone. Clear the DMs. Clear the emotional real estate. Make room. Because the man God has for you cannot squeeze into a life that is already crowded with men who don't belong. Make the space, and then trust that the space will be filled. Now let me talk to you about the power move. This is the exact behavioral shift I want you to make starting today. Are you ready? Here it is. Stop initiating. Just for 30 days. I'm not saying forever. I'm saying 30 days. I want you to conduct an experiment. Whatever man is in your life right now, or whatever men are in your life, I want you to stop initiating contact. Do not text first. Do not call first. Do not double text. Do not just check in. Do not send the meme. Do not send the thinking of you. Just go quiet. Not cold. Not angry. Just gently, peacefully, quietly still. And I want you to watch what happens. Because in those 30 days, sister, you are going to learn more about the men in your life than you have learned in the last 3 years. You are going to see who chases you and who forgets you. You are going to see who is invested and who was just enjoying your effort. You are going to see who values you and who was only using you. And that information, that clarity, is worth more than gold. Because you cannot make good decisions with bad information, and most women are making decisions about their love lives based on a fantasy, not a fact. The 30-day silence gives you the fact. It shows you who is real. And once you know who is real, you can invest accordingly. You can pour into what pours into you. You can chase what chases you. You can love what loves you. And you can release with a soft heart and a firm hand everyone else. Now here's where most women mess up. They try this for 3 days and then they cave because the anxiety gets loud. The old programming kicks in. The voice in their head says, but what if he thinks I don't care? What if he moves on? What if I lose him? And they pick up the phone and they send the text and they start the cycle all over again. Sister, I need you to sit with the anxiety, because on the other side of that anxiety is your freedom. The anxiety is not the truth. The anxiety is the withdrawal symptom of a woman who has been addicted to earning love. And withdrawal is not fun. It is uncomfortable. It is painful. It is loud. But if you can just get through the first 2 weeks, something magical happens. The anxiety quiets, your center returns, your power comes back online. And you start to feel, maybe for the first time in your adult life, what it means to be a woman who does not need a man's approval to breathe. That is the goal, sister. Not to punish him, not to test him, not to punish him. The goal is to reclaim your own nervous system, to stop outsourcing your peace to someone who was never qualified to hold it. To remember that you were whole before you met him, and you will be whole after him, and you are whole right now, in this moment, whether he texts back or not. And this isn't about games. This is about self-respect. This is about the sacred practice of putting yourself back in the center of your own life, because that is where you belong, not on the sidelines of his life, waiting to be picked, but at the center of your own life, waiting to see who is worthy of joining. Now let me warn you about the traps, because there are traps, and I want you to see them before you fall into them. Trap number 1 is the breadcrumb trap. When you go quiet, he might toss you a breadcrumb, a "Hey stranger" text, a random like on an old photo, a "we should catch up sometime" message with no plans attached, and your dopamine will fire. Your heart will jump. You will feel that ancient rush of "see, he does care. I was wrong. Let me respond." No, sister, that is not care. That is inventory management. He is checking if you are still in stock. Because he might want to use you later, when he is bored, when his other options fall through, when he needs a boost of ego. That is not love. That is not pursuit. That is exploitation. And a queen does not respond to breadcrumbs. A queen waits for the whole loaf. Trap number 2 is the pity trap. When you go quiet, he might come back with a sob story, a hard week at work, a family emergency, a you don't understand what I'm going through. And your compassion will kick in because you are a nurturer, you are a healer, you are a woman with a big heart, and you will want to comfort him, to soothe him, to be there for him. And baby, listen. If a man cannot show up for you in his good times, he does not get access to you in his bad times. Compassion is not a doormat. Compassion is mounted war mat. And a queen understands that she is not obligated to hold the emotional labor of a man who does not hold hers. Trap number 3 is the love bombing trap. When you go quiet, some men will come back with fireworks, flowers, dinners, grand gestures. I've been thinking about you all week. I realized what I had. I want to make this right. And it will feel amazing. It will feel like a movie. And you will want to melt back into his arms. But sister, watch him. Not for 3 days, not for 3 weeks, for 3 months. Because love bombing is not love. Love bombing is a strategy. And a man who love bombs will withdraw the same energy the second he feels you are secured. A queen is not impressed by fireworks. A queen is impressed by consistency, by the small, boring daily deposits that add up over time. That is real. Everything else is theater. So watch for the traps, recognize them, name them out loud, and then step over them one by one, with the calm certainty of a woman who knows exactly what she is worth. Now, sister, I want to close this out by speaking directly to the deepest part of you, the part that has been hurt, the part that has been overlooked, the part that has been told in 1,000 small ways that you are too much or not enough or somehow wrong. I need you to hear me. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never be too much. The men who called you too much were too small. That's the truth. Your fire didn't scare a real man. Your fire scared a boy pretending to be a man. And that's not your fault. That's his limitation. And you do not owe your smallness to anyone. You are not too deep. You are not too emotional. You are not too intense. You are not too complicated. You are not too much work. You are not too much work. You are not too old. You are not too broken. You are not too used. You are not too anything. You are exactly, precisely, divinely enough, just as you are, right now, in this moment, without changing a single thing. And the man God has for you is not going to look at your depth and get overwhelmed. He is going to look at your depth and say, finally, a woman with substance, a woman I can go the distance with, a woman worth building with. Because a real man wants a real woman, not a highlight reel, not a mannequin, a real 3-dimensional, beautifully complicated woman with dreams and scars and softness and fire. That is what he is looking for. That is what he is praying for. And when he finds you, he is going to feel like he hit the jackpot, because he did. You are not asking for too much when you ask for consistency. You are not asking for too much when you ask for effort. You are not asking for too much when you ask for honesty. You are not asking for too much when you ask for time, attention, respect, and love that shows up on the days when it's inconvenient. You are asking for the baseline of what love is. And any man who calls that too much is telling you he does not have love to give. Believe him and keep moving. Because, sister, there is a whole life waiting for you on the other side of this mindset. A life where you wake up next to a man who is grateful you exist. A life where your phone is not a source of anxiety, but a source of joy. A life where love feels like exhale, not effort. A life where you get to be fully yourself and be adored for exactly that and never again shrink into a shape that does not fit you. That life is not a fantasy. That life is not a fairy tale. That life is your birthright. And the queen mindset is the key that unlocks the door. So here is what I want you to do tonight. Before you go to sleep, I want you to stand in front of a mirror. I want you to look at yourself. Really look. Not at the flaws. Not at the parts you wish were different, but at the woman staring back at you. The one who has survived every heartbreak. The one who has kept going when it would have been easier to give up. The one who is still somehow, softly, stubbornly, magnificently here. And I want you to say to her out loud, I see you, I honor you, I choose you. From this day forward, I put you first. From this day forward, I stop begging for what I already possess. From this day forward, I am a queen, and I move like one. I speak like one. I love like one. I choose like one, and I never again forget who I am. Say it. Even if your voice shakes, say it. Even if you don't fully believe it yet, say it. Because the words will make the way. The declaration will build the road. And step by step, day by day, you will become the very woman you just spoke into existence. Ladies, I want to leave you with one final image. I want you to imagine yourself 6 months from now. You are walking into a room. Your head is high, your shoulders are back, your smile is genuine, your energy is calm. You are not looking for anyone. You are not searching the room for validation. You are simply present, simply full, simply you. And across the room, a man notices you, not because you were trying to be noticed, but because you weren't. Because your fullness is a lighthouse and his ship has been searching for a shore. He walks over. He introduces himself. He is nervous. He is careful. He is respectful. Because on some level, he knows he is in the presence of something rare, something sacred, something he has been praying to find. And you look up at him with the gentle certainty of a woman who knows exactly who she is. And you smile, and you take your time deciding whether he is worthy of your name. Not because you are cold, but because you are coldly. And a queen chooses. She is not chosen, she chooses. That is your future sister. That is what is waiting for you. And it starts today, right now, in this moment, with this decision to stop being the woman who chases and to become the woman who is chased, to stop being the woman who begs and to become the woman who blesses, to stop being the woman who shrinks and to become the woman who reigns. You are a queen. You have always been a queen. You will always be a queen, and the men who are worthy of you will find you, will fight for you, will run to you when you finally stop running to them. Sister, if this hit your spirit today, drop a heart in the comments and let another woman hear this too. Because sometimes the best thing we can do for our sisters is say, here, this is for you. This is your reminder. This is your crown. And she will pick it up. And she will put it on, and she will remember who she is. Carry yourself like a woman who knows, because you do. You always have. You just needed somebody to remind you. Go be her baby. The world has been waiting.